I'm Leon Bucher. I'm the German hub lead. For our hub is called Land Regeneration, which I personally like because it's the English and the German word are the same, and it means the same thing. So that's was important for us to have a name that is useful in the main languages that we speak in our personal cultural background, but also in a European context. I'm pretty new as a hub lead because the old team had a very, very, very good purpose in bringing this hub to life. And I felt like last year handing it over to other people who stepped in, and part of me is me, and part of it is Robin and Leticia and other people who come to create a different kind of identity, what it means to be a hub in this middle northern continental Europe that feel like still the farmers, everyone feels pretty good there. So they're efficient, they have productivity, they have subsidies, so everyone is still complaining over a high level, and it needed a different energy to create whatever hub means for our specific cultural background in a way. So my role is a hub lead, which I define, I think Abby said that at one point, which I loved and it's beautiful, that hub leaders are community builders. And I think when she said that about a year ago, that was when it really got me. Because I'm not the rancher, I'm not the farmer, I'm not the producer, I'm not the person with the agricultural background. But I love community building. I think if we come back to building relationships and building community below, within, above the soil and all living things on earth, that is actually when we create regeneration. So when Abby said, hub leaders are community builders, for me it was like this, okay, now I can step into this role and start defining it for myself, but coming from this phrase or principle she used. My story starts at the typical thing when you're 19, 20, and you have to decide what to study with your life. What do you do? Go to university or something else? What is the thing that I want? I don't know. No one knows at that age. Some people, very few, know if they're lucky. So I went, funny enough, to business economics. So I worked in the German railways before, with the German railways. I did heavy maintenance for high-speed trains. Don't ask me how I ended up there, but that was one of the things I did in my past, was actually looking at efficiency in processes, and it was in railways. And the German railways, because of efficiency, they got rid of more and more and more of their extra tracks that they had. They had a very good system of just extra tracks lying next to the main tracks where you could just technically park a train so someone else could overtake. And because of efficiency and maintenance costs, all these redundancies got cut out. So now when you have something blocking the system, it's literally blocking the system. If you have a train that breaks down, it blocks the whole system because we got rid of redundancies. And nature thrives out of redundancies. And redundancy, if you say this in a conversation to an English-speaking person, they always are like, oh yeah, there's something bad. It's like, no, we need more of these redundancies, these double systems that catch each other in a way. And I think that's something that when we move with the speed of life or the pace of life, how can we also create these redundancies into our systems that if one thing fails, everything else is there to catch it. And through that, I stumbled upon a book, and I think the title was A Finer Future by Hunter L. Lovins, and she has one chapter that talks about holistic management. And I read holistic management as a term. I was like, oh, that's another of these management methodologies that some consultancy paid for to get a trademark on the title. And then I read the chapter and I was like, oh, this sounds like something completely different. So I signed up for the first class I could find in Europe, which was in Ireland. Went there, got 9 days, the comprehensive in one row, was fully blown away, filled up, had an awesome time with these Irish farmers. But after these days, I was like, oh my gosh, I can have a role in this. I don't need to go back to university to study agriculture. I don't need to go back to study biology, botanics, or whatever it is. I actually, with what I've done, I can be in this. I can support people where they are in asking better questions and figuring out a way forward, whatever forward means for them. Before that, I was doing so many different things and always like, that's something, I do something else. And since the last 3 years, since this class and then meeting these people and figuring out what my part could be, my role could be, my role that can change within it, I'm really, it's crazy. It's not like blind, not looking right, but it's this direction and this space that kind of is way clearer than before. What is the value for me of being part of a global network like Savory? And for me, the word value is such an interesting word, because often when we use this word in let's call it the outside world right now, it's financial value. And then value has so many different layers, like cultural value, spiritual value, a community like value, a place. There's so many different things. And for me, the Savory network taps into all of these different things. So that's the other part of community, when we have these more or less virtual, purpose-driven, we are connected, we know where we get our energy from, and the whole like, okay, this is why we do this. And now figuring out how we get all these campfires going of local communities popping up in different forms, if it's an intentional people moving together, if it's people who've been there for 500 years engaging more again, if it's people who move into a new region and try to become part of a village or a municipality or whatever. How can we get all these campfires going and then start to connect them? So that's the other part of community that I'm really excited about, which I have no idea how to get to it. So the only thing what we're right now doing, or I'm doing, is just to show up and just to engage from a place of I'm actually really interested, and I'm really interested in supporting you. And then we figure out what is the next step. And so for me, this coming from this whole statement of hub leaders or community builders, I think we can come in at so different points to actually just start and see what happens if we try with this idea in mind and see what works.